So for the millions of views I had across all three socials, I only realised this year, since we started doing AEP, that it's all pointless unless it's geared towards selling the product.
Yeah, and that's something that the majority of people don't know. They just keep continuously getting told to post content, but you end up just posting content for content's sake if it's not part of a marketing strategy. Like every business owner knows what marketing means, yet they just post content willy nilly. Like, do you think you just put a random advert on the telly of you out for dinner with your missus? Or like pay for a billboard and it's just a random photo? No, it'd be part of a marketing structure because you'd be paying for it. But because social media is free, there's less of a consequence for making sure that you get things right, and you need to get things right.
Yeah, and well, the consequence is that if you just post shit content, what's that reflect on your business?
Yeah, and like shit content could be content that gets millions of views. But if it's shit, if it's baseless, if it's not moving people close towards believing that you're the right person for them to pay money to, it's a waste of time. And it doesn't mean that every time you jump on social media, you have to be shouting about how great you are. You just have to be consistently posting good content,
Yeah.
professional content, and it needs to look good. Like, social media is a lot easier of a game to win than most people. Firstly, you just have to not stop. And secondly, you just have to make sure that your content reflects the core values of your brand.
Do you think that you've stopped doing certain strategies too quickly and it's been detrimental?
100%. Like in the past, I've thought that, well, because you're on social media and you're using social media as you're posting, you're seeing people become successful with different strategies, and you're a month or two into one strategy getting semi decent results from it. And because they're semi decent results and not the results of the people who you've been sitting doing another strategy, you jump ship. That's been a fault of my own, and probably a fault of a lot of other people who are using social media for their businesses, is that they jump ship too quickly. That's something I'm not doing anymore.
I think what's interesting with you, especially for your accounts, is that you know that results aren't immediate.
Yeah.
And you know that views aren't necessarily a metric of success. But yet you still get disheartened when you don't get the views that you think you should.
Yeah, I know. And like, I have built businesses successfully purely from social media. So the whole purpose of me using social media, which is a key tool as part of a business, but no more of a key tool than my ability to communicate and actually get results from my clients, take payment, make sales, all of these other skills that we're using. Because social media is so in your face and so egotistical, if my content and the results I'm getting from my content aren't marrying up with my egotistical desires for how I want my social media to look, I will even get disheartened, even though I'd shout at a client for that. Is your content making you money? Then it's good content.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about the views, the reach, the engagement. Like, there are people who I know and who have known of who have less than 1,000 followers on Instagram and are using those 1,000 followers better than anyone else I've ever seen, because they've built such an efficient funnel that are funneling those followers down into clients or people buying their services. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and actually I was just going to say then, on the point of account reach, if you're making money from your social media and you've got a certain amount of followers and your funnels are good and your sales is good, then account reach does matter because you need to get in front of more audience.
100%. That was something I was lied to initially.
That account reach wasn't important.
Yeah, that account reach wasn't important, and
because your sales is good.
yeah, the sales is good. My sales is good, right? But what happens is if you're not continuously bringing in a new audience for you to pitch your services to, how many times are you going to repitch to the same audience? They're not buying, bro. You've launched that same offer 3 or 4 times. If someone was going to buy it, they would have bought it on the first or maybe the second time. But because your audience has only grown by 1 to 2% since the last time you offered that same service, you're relying on a miracle. The miracle being that they just, for happen chance, didn't see that content the first 2 times. You need to bring new eyes onto your page so they can see what your offers are.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I've had big funnels for the past 4 years. TikTok 25,000, Kenny the Content Coach 11,000, and now Flipping Property Couple at 60k. I've only just started utilising that following to its biggest benefit, and I don't think we've touched the surface on it yet. So, a client could come on board, do really well, smash it out the park, account reach goes through the roof, get way more views, which has happened to multiple clients. But because their funnels aren't good enough, their systems for selling aren't good enough, they don't see the rewards that they actually need.
Yeah, and like
to make it tangible and worth it.
The word funnel can be a bit of a buzzword for like real business talk. Seriously, like for me, a funnel just simply comes down to, is the thing you're talking about the thing that people who you're talking to want to hear?
Your content's a funnel.
Your content's a funnel, like, and what that should mean is that you should want your followers to be people who may potentially buy your services or recommend your services to somebody else. right? So if people who are never going to be a part of that demographic are engaging with your content, it doesn't matter. It might matter because that engagement might then yield more engagement from people who are interested, but you should always be looking for not empty views. You should be looking for views, likes, engagement, comments, shares, and follows from people who are a good fit for your program. This really weird intersection at the moment where there are certain businesses that are heavily reliant on social media. The business that I've came from and I'm still in, online coaching, and the majority of online services operate extremely heavily through social media. So I've then come into this social media agency world where we're helping businesses use social media to drive business for themselves, and realize that people don't actually still yet grasp the importance and the significance of social media for their business. Just by having a professional looking social media, you can actually increase the demand from people who would even want to buy your social media. Sorry, buy your Instagram, buy your business, who want to do business with you because that's where they do their market research nowadays.
Yeah.
People spend more time on Instagram than they do on anything else. So the way that you appear on Instagram is the way you are to people who are viewing your business.
Yeah, because by proxy, they think they're getting behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's why websites are obsolete.
Yeah, websites have become obsolete, and Instagrams are interactive websites that change and develop as you develop.
Yeah, and you said something the other day, actually, which is super important, is that dopamine hit is a swipe away.
Yeah.
God, so empowered. You just think about the fact that you've got to be that engaging that someone would have to stop on your post and not just go to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then see someone skiing off a 50-foot cliff, and you know what I mean?
But that's what disheartens a lot of business owners, is that they intrinsically know that, but they don't know how to make that work in their favour. They don't know how to be interesting, they don't know how to be engaging, and they might just go, well, listen, all I do is refurbish roofs, or all I do is this, it's not interesting.
And that's where, I think I've done well, is I've pulled stories out of nothing.
Well, that's what you teach people to do, is that you teach people to find stories in what they're doing, and actually the way that people receive information best is through a story. So that's all we're helping social media's these businesses do, is that we're helping them improve their copywriting ability and their ability to articulate mundane, everyday things that are going on in their business as stories that will get people to pay attention and listen. Because I could sit here and rattle off to this camera and this microphone now why my business is great, or I could tell a story about how I got an amazing result with a client who was really hesitant about joining the service through using X, Y, and Z principles.
Yeah, and I've said the problems and challenges you face to get there, and people have pulled along for the ride, and wow, you got over that amazing issue.
Yeah, but if you just sit here and talk about your business, people are either not engaged, or if you talk about your business in a really positive manner because you want to tell people how great your stuff is, unless it's an engaging story, people are just not going to listen, and they're going to think you're a twat.
Yeah,
because they're just going to think you're
It's a shame that
I was talking to someone about this, and it was a lot of people put an insane amount of work into building a fantastic business, right? And then the final hurdle, the icing on the cake, they want to bring more business in, so they jump on social media. And all those years' experience, right, go out the window because their social media strategy is ineffective and they aren't communicating effectively with their audience. So all of that value that they've built up for themselves as a business, they haven't been able to glue that together with their potential audience. And when I'm talking to a lot of these business owners on the calls that we have with them, I'm saying, look, listen, you've just told me about your 15 years of experience in this field. The strategy that you use is going to be the glue that holds that experience together with someone who might buy your services.
Yeah, do you think it's because it's as simple as they're nervous about getting in front of camera? And they're trying to fit a mould of what an Instagram influencer might do?
Yeah, because the analogy that I always use to try and put business...
Because I don't do that shit.
I try to put business owners at ease by saying you're not going to be Molly May. I actually say to them, we are never going to turn you into an influencer. If you want to become an influencer, go elsewhere. I'm not an influencer at all. You might have fallen into that category of influencer, but the reality is that the majority of people who have a social media and they have 1 million followers on social media, the average amount of money that someone with 1 million followers makes on social media from social media is only $6,000 a month. Yeah, and whilst that is that's fantastic money, it's great money, but not for 1 million followers.
Well, yeah, and also to get to 1 million followers is just unbelievable achievement.
Yeah, and the amount of work you'd have to put in to get to 1 million followers.
I don't think you can bluff that either, by the way.
What?
I don't think you can just post random content and get to 1 million followers. I think your content has to be substantial and you have to bring some sort of value. I'm trying to think of someone who has 1 million followers other than fucking Bevo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that doesn't bring any value and yet has an insane... And that value might be entertainment, by the way.
Yeah, value isn't. But the people are following you for a reason. It's because your page gives them something. And if you're giving someone something, I'm sorry, but that's the definition of value.
People are drawn to shame as well, aren't they?
Yeah, people draw. Yeah. It's interesting, but the social media landscape is interesting. The influencer landscape is interesting, but luckily we aren't dealing with influencers. We aren't dealing with people who want to become influencers. We aren't managing influencers. What we're doing is taking small businesses and going, you need a better social media because you're doing yourself a disservice by not pitching your services and products in a more engaging manner.
100%.
And by doing that, you are going to drive more revenue to a business. And even if worst case scenario, you didn't drive any more revenue to a business, you've now got a more professional business.
Yeah, way more.
You pay 2k a month for a cleaner to come into the office. You don't expect them to make you any more money, do you? But you know they play a fundamental role in what your business looks like, in how your business appears. But you won't spend any money on your social media. Why?
Yeah, and do you know what? Like, because we work with a lot of property sources as well, and I always say to clients, don't I, or on sales calls, the devil's in the detail. And if you can't be bothered to really get to grips of putting professional content out there and great detail, not having breaths in between sentences, looking away when you're doing your script, things like that. If you can't be bothered to just master those simple skills, why would anyone invest hundreds of thousands of pounds into your sourcing business?
Well, 100%. Like, unfortunately, if you decide to actually have a social media, you have to have a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, because exactly as I said before.
You have to have a good one.
It's detrimental to post shit content.
It's detrimental to post shit content. And it's what I see time and time again. And because shit content's the norm, people feel like there isn't an actual consequence to it. But let's just have a real rational conversation for a second. If I'm thinking about going into business with you, right, one of the first things I'm going to do, maybe I'll look for your website if I'm a little bit more old school. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto your Instagram.
Straight away.
And when I go onto your Instagram and I see crap content, poorly edited, done in a tacky fashion, and I don't see that Instagram page directing me to somewhere where I can inquire about your services, find out more, see social proof, testimonials, reviews, and it's done in an engaging, professional way, I view you poorly now. I view you in line with the social media that I've just come across.
Let's do a test on it. So, if you're going to go and look for a new gym, what are you going to do?
Instagram.
Okay. If you're going to go and look to get your hair done, what are you going to do?
You're going to type the barber on Instagram.
Teeth?
Yeah, exactly the same thing, because they're visual representations of your business.
You can't escape it either.
No, you can't escape it.
And what you're going to do, by the way, let's flip the coin then. If you, let's say you can spend hair transplant, yeah, £2,000, £3,000, £4,000. If you search them on Instagram and they don't show up, you're going to be like, I'm not going there.
Yeah. Or the photos are taken dead dodgily. And the lighting's poor. I'm going to start thinking about, well, okay, I need a fucking hair transplant, right? So these are things that me and you are looking at. Yeah, this is an intricate skill. Someone's going to perform surgery on my head, take hair from the back of my head and post it to the front, and they're doing it with an iPhone 12. No way. It's not on. Yeah,
I agree. So, where do you think? Because you've been up and down about your content, haven't you, for a while?
Yeah.
And I actually, like a lot of other people, love your content. I think your content's fantastic. And I think there's something else at play going on as to why your natural engagement is...
I'm an interesting use case, because I'm, again, like the antithesis of an influencer. I'm somebody who's managed to build now I've built my own business from a very small amount of followers. And I've consistently brought business in from that page. The one thing I haven't done is grow a large following, because that's not something I profess to know about. But what I do profess to understand is the significance of social media for most businesses, which I do know, because social media has been the tool that I've used to not only grow this business, but I've then come over to what you're doing and said, look, Kenny, this is how we use your social media to grow a business.
Yeah, especially an online coaching business, because I've only ever done it where I've been offering a direct service, which has been like an actual product, like a property that's been sourced, or a resin floor or something like that. So it was really interesting to see how just these people who follow you actually are paying clients.
They are paying clients. Like most people, if you have, say, a roofing business, a brickwork business, whatever it is, you have money sat on your Instagram